snag, etc. Playing against
Charlie Gindy playing blue-white, but really, this one's a little different. This one has Geist, this one has Snapcaster, has Delver, but this one has no Phantasmal Bear. Instead, it's playing Stalkers and Merfolk Looters. And
yeah. And we saw Charles playing this early in the tournament, round 3.
We did.
So
he's been on a tear since then.
I think the Rune Chanter's Pike that Gindy is running is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, that card is great. Just first strike, +7/+0, not a bad deal. And right now, they're trading Gataxian Probes. We missed one of the hands. It looks like Charles is deciding which land to play. He decides on Seachrome Coast and Ponder. So the early turns of this game will be pretty basic, pondering, deploying their best threats. The middle part of the game, though, is where it gets really exciting, where the equipment starts to come into play, where the trades that require a little more thinking start happening, and where people start playing around cards like Vapor Snag and Gut Shot. Cards that are pretty hard to play around, since they cost 0 and 1 mana and have such a huge effect.
One of the things that I see that Shawn Noah has is with the Sword of War and Peace and extra, he's got the same amount as Charles does, but he has an extra Midnight Haunting. And I think the extra Midnight Haunting, that's one of the cards that, this is kind of an attrition-y matchup in a lot of ways. That could help a lot.
I definitely agree. And actually, it looks like Gindy had 3, but crossed it out to put 2. So
yeah,
let's hope that doesn't come back to bite him, because that does seem like one of the better cards in the matchup.
Then one of the other things to note is what he scritched out was to add a second Runecaster's Pike.
Oh, okay.
Chanter's Pike. Chanter's Pike.
So Shawn Noah has an Invisible Stalker for his turn 2 play, and Charlie just plays a Phantasmal Bear. Is that right?
He does not have any Phantasmal Bears in his deck.
Yeah, I think the names are actually backwards here.
They are backwards, yeah. Charles Gindy is on the left, and Shawn Noah is on the right.
So we'll get that fixed for you guys. And they are sort of both blue-white, and they're sort of both blue-white aggro as well.
Yeah, these are both blue-white aggro decks.
So Gindy plays a Sword of War and Peace. Or I'm sorry, Shawn Noah plays a Sword of War and Peace.
Yeah, we're tricking ourselves here.
And if that ever gets a hit in, that can change the tempo of the game really fast. Gataxian Probe from Gindy reveals Moorland Haunt Island, Glacial Fortress Island, and another Sword of War and Peace. So I'm not sure what 3 cards Shawn Noah kept with Ponder, but this is not a strong draw.
No.
Yeah, I can't imagine what combination of 3 that they were that he didn't shuffle those away. But either way, Gindy untaps, plays a Moorland Haunt of his own.
Boom.
Equips, and is attacking for 4. So turn 4, attack for 4. And that'll only get bigger.
I have done this myself many times with my deck in Standard. It is so much fun to attack with Invisible Stalker or Rune Enchanter's Pike.
This gives you a warm feeling you know nothing's going to happen to your creature.
It's so good. Oh look, it's a little backup in case something that I can't imagine happens that goes wrong.
Marrow Shards.
Yeah, Marrow Shards.
Which is not in the deck, just to let you know.
Not in the sideboard either.
Yeah, on stage.
Drink?
Yeah, I think it must be. So it looks like we're on Shawn Noah's main phase right now, trying to decide what to do with that second Sword of War and Peace. And decides on Snapcaster. It's like flashing back, I would assume a Ponder, no, a Gataxian Probe. He wants to be able to equip that other sword.
Now, Sword is so effective in this kind of fight simply because that life gain potential is so huge.
Right.
Now, there's a Pike problem, however.
There is. That sword will not be able to get through a 4-power first striker. Even with a second sword, as long as it's 5 power, it still won't be able to get through. And I have to imagine Gindy has an instant here.
Now remember, this is the exact scenario I was talking about before with the Runechanter's Pike, where you come in and then you bring it over, and they can't even attack you.
Right. Not even with 2 Swords of War and Peace can they attack. Again, assuming Gindy has an instant, which it looks like he's representing Midnight Haunting here. And he has a Mana Leak.
There's the Midnight Haunting.
And a Snapcast.
Yeah.
I'm almost surprised he didn't Mana Leak that just to get that creature up to 5.
You know, I don't mind holding back on it. Like, Ponder.
Also resolves. Shawn quickly chooses to shuffle. He knows he's in trouble. He knows he needs an answer very fast. So he draws and immediately puts it in the back of his hand so we can't tell.
He's very sneaky.
He is. I think he should be the one playing Invisible Stalker. So Shawn Noah is at 7 life. There we go. Life totals are now correct. So he is just 1 swing away from death. Potentially 2 if Gindy draws an instant so he can Mana Leak it. Snapcaster. Mana Leaks it. So now those Stalkers represent 6 points of damage.
Probably just going to be 5 damage though, and then transfer it on over.
There's the snag, and that's the game right there.
Oh, die.
1 damage over. So Gindy's Invisible Stalkers march to victory, as they so often do, carrying that equipment.
And looking at the sideboard for Charles, he has Divine Offering, which is certainly a reasonable card to bring in against Sword of War and Peace. I wouldn't be surprised to see him using Negate in this matchup. Do you like Phantasmal Image against this other? I don't like it very much in this style of quasi-mirror, I don't think.
No, I don't, because a lot of the removal, because usually the reason that a card like Image is good is because the removal spells would kill it anyway, like Doomblade, things like that. But in this case, it's Gut Shot, which probably won't kill it, Vapor Snag, which definitely sends it back to the hand. With Phantasmal Image, it just kills it. So I don't think I like it.
Okay.
Plus, there are no Lords to copy.
Do you like Timely Reinforcements in case the game is kind of a little bit falling behind?
I like that card a lot.
Okay.
Interesting to note, Timely Reinforcements carries a pretty mean Runechanter's type.
That's funny.
Attack, move it. Attack, move it. Gut Shot, I'm sure we'll see the Gut Shot. Dissipate, I'm not so sure about.
I feel like he's got a lot of cards to potentially bring in.
Yeah.
Like Gut Shot, Divine Offering, Timely Reinforcements, Negate, Dissipate, maybe Ratchet Bomb, maybe O-Ring. But he can't possibly bring them all in and still be the same deck.
Right.
So he has to marshal his resources and figure out which ones he wants to bring in. So what are the cards he's not necessarily too excited about? I actually don't really think that Gitaxian Probe is all that great in this. The information is okay, but it's not wonderful.
2 life's often really
2 life is
often,
yeah. I think that Mana Leak is often awesome or terrible, depending. So I think that's what you play with the most. The rest of the cards, I basically like all of the other cards that he would have for this matchup.
I'm not that big of a fan of Vapor Snag. I don't think you truly need 4.
That's fair. You could shave down the snags. I do like the Vapor Snag because one of the things that happens with Delver Wars is that somebody gets out a Delver, and if you are the person that doesn't have Delver, sometimes you're just so far behind, you just need to reset the insect into a human.
Right.
Or I shouldn't say into a human, away from being an insect.
Yeah.
Make it back into being a wizard. And so I definitely like at least some small number, but you're right that you don't need 4.
Okay. How do you feel about Sword of War and Peace in the quasi mirror? It seems
I
pretty
like
slow,
it.
yeah?
I actually
Not
like it a
too
lot.
slow. Okay.
Here's what happens a lot of the time, is that you're way behind, you attach a Sword of War and Peace once, and then they have to either chump it or you gain too much life.
Yeah. If it ever connects, I agree,
Yeah.
the game's almost over. The game's almost definitely over. Getting it to connect, though, is the tough part.
Gindy might not need it because he already has Runechanter's Pike.
That's what I was thinking. I think there's an upper limit on the number of equipment that you can have in this matchup. And it's probably right around 3.
I think it is around 3. I could see shaving down one Sword of War and Peace, but I mean, I know that when I play this matchup, I run 1 Pike, 1 Sword of War and Peace as my 2 equipment, and I board in 2 more equipment, so I go up to 4. He's already at 4. I don't know that he would necessarily drop down.
Right. He's probably pretty confident with his main deck. I'm sure he tweaked it to be able to beat the mirror because he knew that was going to be the most popular deck.
Absolutely. I mean, like right now, I know one of the things one of my favorite playtest partners and deck building partners is another Madison guy named Ben Dempsey, and he has been trying to break Delver as like a how to win against other Delver players for a while, and he's tried all kinds of different things, but he basically recently gave up a little bit. He might try again at some point because the decks, if the decks are good, they're just always good against each other.
Right.
And it's really hard to get a good edge. Maybe Rune Chanter's Pike is the card that he needs to make it be the edge. And if that's the case, you know, a card like Sword of War and Peace, maybe you could shave that out because Rune Chanter's Pike is where it's at for that. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, it definitely requires a lot of playtesting, a lot of post-sideboard playtesting. Invisible Stalker also is just a card that drastically changes matchups.
Oh yeah.
Just the presence of that card in your deck with equipment.
I really love Invisible Stalker. I know that at the St. Louis coverage, I think it was Eric Froelich asked me via Twitter, why bother with a terrible card like Invisible Stalker? And actually, I don't think Invisible Stalker is terrible. I think it actually does a lot of stuff that you can't otherwise do.
Right. It lets you play cards like Rune Chanter's Pike, which normally you wouldn't be able to play that card because the cost is just so high of having to waste the mana to equip it.
What if something happens to who you put it on?
Exactly. So add Invisible Stalker to Geist of St. Traft, and all of a sudden you have 6 creatures that you can just reliably put something on.
And Shawn only has the 3 Geist of St. Traft to do that kind of work.
Right.
Now, Geist of St. Traft, I think that's a good card in this matchup. And the question is, though, is it as good in Shawn's deck? I don't think it's as good in Shawn's deck as it is in Charles's deck because Charles has 4 equipment as opposed to Shawn's 2.
Probably not. Interesting to note, though, that Shawn's Geists are better because of Gindy's lack of Phantasmal Bears.
That's true. He has no bears.
The only creatures that can really trade with it are a Flip Delver, which you don't really want to do, or a Snapcaster Mage.
We see a turn... Wow. Gindy won the first game, and he's playing.
Wow.
Did Shawn Noah ask to draw?
I think that must be what happened, unless Gindy somehow mind-tricked him into it. But I have to imagine he chose to draw.
Do you want to draw in this matchup?
I don't think so. I think the tempo edge is just too huge.
You want the extra card?
But do you want to be on card advantage or on tempo in this matchup? That's the question, right? Like,
Shawn actually explained that to me outside. He said the way he thinks about it is if I've got that extra card, it gives me a card deeper than the other guy.
okay, so we just heard from one of the people that does some playing with Shawn, or is one of his friends, that he likes in this mirror the idea of that extra card because he thinks that it actually is I think a grinding out style matchup,
Right.
where you both have very similar things that you're doing, and what you want to do is have one extra card to be able to fight, because you're not going to win probably on turn 4 usually.
Almost like a red
You're
mirror
going to keep
match
trade.
Yeah.
To be fair, in the red mirror match, I don't think you should have drawn in red mirrors for about 4 years. I think that people that want to draw in red mirrors, they're about 4 years out of date.
Fair enough. We'll get P. Sully's input on that sometime
P.
later.
Sully's already on my side on this one.
Oh boy. Well, I can't argue with you two.
Another ponder.
So, Gindy with an Invisible Stalker already versus only a dead Delver. Shawn played a Delver and it was immediately gut shotted. A great trade for Gindy.
I don't know that I like the Gitaxian probe though in this. The information is great, digging is great, but that life loss is a real thing.
It is. A lot of times games are decided by one turn, by one attack phase.
We've got an attack here. Rawr. Take damage.
Interesting to note though, I'm not sure if he paid life for that Gitaxian probe. Oh, Shawn
No
Noah's
land
stuck
for
on-
Shawn Noah. That's very bad.
Yeah, it is. Gindy, though,
Second Invisible Stalker.
not a heck of a lot either. Looks like he only has 2 land and 2 stalkers.
So actually, Shawn, if he gets a land here, he's going to be probably just fine.
Yeah, he pulls something to the front of his hand. Ponder.
Ponder. That is such a 3-moon Ponder. That is the better Ponder, actually.
Then textless? No way.
Oh,
No way. Textless.
3 Moon? Come on. How can you
Beautiful
beat,
textless sign
how
ponders.
can you beat 3 Moon Ponder? At least he didn't cast Fishy Ponder.
Mm.
Fishy Ponder is the super bad Ponder.
At least we're in agreement there. So Gindy cuts Shawn's deck, and we'll see what he draws.
Dun, 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 dun.
Wow.
I think that's bad news.
So he pondered, shuffled, and still didn't draw a land.
Discards a 3 casting cost Midnight Haunting.
This is really unlucky for Shawn.
Oh, look at that mana leak in Charles' hand.
Yeah. As soon as Shawn draws a land, though, you have to imagine he has a lot of twos.
He says
in his
go.
hand.
And there's another spell. It looks like a Vapor Snag, I think.
Wow.
Discards a Vapor Snag. Wait, end of the turn. Bring that Vapor Snag back to your hand, my friend.
Cast it.
It resolves.
They did that wrong.
Okay. And then do you want to discard the Vapor Snag still?
And now I think Charles is explaining the end step to him, but
There we go. The clock is now 4. Take 4. Mana leak in hand. Oh,
drops
boy.
the land, gets the third land
There's a
before Shawn
sword.
gets his second.
And the sword, Invisible Stalker, I'm going to tell you right now, that's all she wrote.
Yeah.
That is it.
Oh, second land.
Just in time.
Yeah, adds a little insult to the injury here. Shawn knows not going to be able to do anything about that with 7 cards in his hand.
I mean, even with his sideboard, there is nothing in his sideboard that gets him out of this situation.
Oblivion Ring would be the only thing, and he clearly has.
It's too
not
late
the
at that
mana.
point.
Yeah.
If he gets the Oblivion Ring next turn, he will take 7 damage from the sword, plus the 4 in the table for 11 to
He's
knock him
dead.
to 1, and there's 2 Invisible Stalkers in play. There's nothing for him to do now but go home.
Right. Remove Simeon Spirit Guide. Man of Orphos, Day of Judgment. Yeah, he plays a Snapcaster main phase and says go, and headshot. No, not yet. I don't know why Charlie's thinking here. Oh, okay, Vapor.
There we go.
There we
He's
go.
like, what are you at?
It's
Okay,
like,
you're dead.
Wait a second. Die. So, quick match. Gindy wins 2-0. The Pro Tour Hollywood champion prevails. Moving into position to potentially draw into top 8 next round.
I think it's pretty likely. I mean, if we look at the field of players here, Charles Gindy is probably the most decorated player in the room.
Yeah, definitely true.
I don't know if I saw anyone else that is a Pro Tour champion in the room.